Alright, so welcome back to Dragon's Dogma 2. Probably going to be, well, I would assume we're going to be wrapping up here today. I hear everything's respawned now because I rested. I guess it would have worked out if I put like the port crystal just outside of the camp instead of inside. So unfortunately now I sort of have to go through. I have to run through all these enemies again. I don't think there's like maybe one Cyclops, right? I think outside of that it's all just basic enemies though.
No sense letting the enemy gain the upper hand. The early griffin gets the worm, as they say. I must admit that it feels wonderful to strike true.
I feel like I only fired like one volley of arrows at that dude, but it still dealt with him. Oh, you know, probably all those ballista are to I to do with the Talos as it goes closer. Looks like there's a ballista. If I could not get turned around, there's one like right there. And I guess it's supposed to chase although how would you get up there? Oh, probably up this way.
I was just getting warmed up.
Yeah, because it's supposed to chase him. What was his name? Phasius.
You must cleanse yourself of that oil. Oh, taste.
I figured it was going straight for the camp full of people. But maybe it's just like following him specifically. So it would like walk all along here, I guess. Although it would probably go through like this way, the bottom path.
Over so soon? Why, we seem to have come through unscathed.
Overconfidence is an enemy in and of itself. Let us instead strive to better ourselves with every battle.
If this ox cart has sailed, it is in a dreadful state.
The work of goblins, mayhap?
I don't know if that interrupted him long enough.
But we ought not let it hurt us in our course.
I also do wonder if it's worth like investing into like the stagger knockdown, the stagger resistance. Like maybe every single enemy wouldn't knock you out if you had enough built up, or if it's purely to stop you from getting like knocked to the ground.
Whatever foes call this their home must be uniquely fearsome. Indeed. Vermund feels a world away.
Where even is this at?
Tis locked,
Do I have to go through? No, it's not.
The key in hand.
What do you mean? Is it through here? Oh no, it's like through... Is that water over there? How could there be water? Okay, no, we gotta go this way. Oh, I guess you don't have unlimited stamina in here. Okay, no, I guess it's down? Oh, I remember this
You
spot.
trouble yourself.
I pointed this out when I was here last time. Oh, is this the exact same one? This looks like the same one we just fought. I think they said it's weak to ice last time.
Live to regret it.
Do not
If I
waste
could
this chance. We will press home our advantage.
target things, there we go.
Focused attack or end this foe.
Very well.
Unfortunately, all its weak spots are like inside. I can't really hit it. Oh, this is like a way worse area to fight it in too. I think he only has one big attack, right? The one where he summons the maelstrom. Oh, why is the camera doing this, Holly?
Right where it hurts.
I wasn't controlling that at all. That was really odd. Yeah, see, if it's gonna do this, this could be a problem if we don't interrupt it, right? Because that's just going to go like dead center in the battlefield. I guess I'm too far away to be locked on anymore. Yeah, because doesn't it summon like a tornado right there? I can't really do anything about this. I don't want to get too close. And it does those things, okay. Yeah, see, it's a much smaller arena.
Less than a monster, more like malice given form.
It is nothing less than the embodiment of this cruel world. The fiend is quick, as one might expect of a serpent. Take care not to let it slither up behind you. It is easily done.
I don't think it'll be slithering up anywhere.
Peel away the red portions, then pummel the tender flesh underneath. I am well aware of the particulars.
Definitely feels weaker than last time. Did I have a Dragon Forge bow last time I fought this? Because it definitely feels like I got like way more of a damage output. I think he does one more big attack, right? He tries to do the tornado thing again. And warriors are probably the like worst class to fight this thing as, but at least they're taking the aggro. I really don't understand why Nibeta is like obsessed with climbing it instead of just casting spells. Okay, I should probably kill it, right? Because now it drops and then it's
And we might not have to do this twice.
now its horn is weak.
Fast and true, and our quarry shall fall.
Oh, maybe not.
Here.
We cannot match the tricky serpent for speed. Instead, we must predict its movements and seize our moment to strike.
Understood.
Oh, that actually works really well on it. Just took like all my stamina to dodge that thing. be able to... We can lock onto enough. Yeah, there we go, we can interrupt that. That should definitely be the death of it, right?
We'll not find a better opening. Strike the horn now.
That didn't do it anywhere near as much as I thought it would. I must have like hit the body. Oh, it didn't give me a bunch of crystals that time though. It was only 75. I think I got like 100 and something last time. Let's erase all those. Unfortunately, I don't have a poor crystal to put
The month I
down.
spent with Lord Phasus was a queer experience indeed. I was conscious of nothing.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I was gonna go back to like Talos to make sure I can't interact with that.
I see you do not relent. Your persistence is most intriguing. What is it that impels you, I wonder? Alas, would that the world had not come to this. For I am certain that your tale would have been a glorious one. Yet, 'twas not to be. You need only cast your gaze upward to glimpse the futility of your defiance.
This ladder can take us to new heights.
I almost feel like that's gonna be the
Not to
last
put it to
one.
good use.
This maybe if this game ends too early, I'll probably start up the next one, to be honest. Because I feel like there's not much left. Where am I going? I do just want to double check Talos real quick. Because they did say like something might happen if we can get him moving again. And since I'm down here, and I don't have a poor crystal to put down, and all the enemies are dead, it just makes sense to try and check it now. I might like climb it, but I'm not sure what that would even do.
The flow of time is not as it should be. 'Twould seem this is no longer the world we know. But who would affect such a change? And for what purpose?
Yeah, that almost seems like I feel like it's a glitch the way the fog is handled over here. The fact that the doors and ladders are still intact. That's not another Dullahan, is it? No, okay.
That hasn't drawn near. It has a resistance to ice.
There is naught more you can achieve here, Arisen. The time for resistance.
Oh, is that telling me like I'm done? To like stop messing around in the
Creature is defeated.
overworld?
This will be enough to forestall the Red Cloud's advance for a while.
Okay, it's a little late to be saying that. We killed the servant like 5 minutes ago. Yeah, because the ladder's still just like floating there. Alright, let's just make sure we
Perhaps
can't
this will seem a little consequence, but
Can't interact with this
masters
at all.
favor different pawns. One whom I served preferred to have beastrons for allies.
Now there's a thought.
Oh, methinks the fiend felt that. Perhaps a few more for good measure.
There's still one thing, yeah, I saw him over here. I could probably leave these guys alone. Let's see what happens if we... Can we even climb this? Oh, we can. Oh, okay, well, here's all my health.
'Tis a remnant from that which sank to the sea's floor.
It didn't sink to the floor.
It could be useful for our own ends.
Yeah, see, they're like telling me I can interact with it.
It shall be done. I am here to aid you, Arisen. Stay with me, Arisen.
I don't know why they're saying it sank to the sea floor though. It's been sitting here the entire time.
Forgive me, but you do not appear to be in need of aid.
All that remains is for you to fulfill your final duty, to witness this world's end with your own.
Yeah, okay.
A ballista.
This could grant us an edge in battle.
No,
if we use it
okay.
well.
Never mind. I'll try one more time. He seemed to grab it the first time. Maybe I was just imagining things. Okay, I was just imagining things. I thought you could maybe climb this. I guess maybe because it's dead that you can't. So I can interact with it from this side. But I feel like that's just where I killed it. It's just like in a really convenient spot. So there's something I'm missing, because they're saying there's nothing. Hmm? Oh, there's something behind me now too.
Feast your eyes on this.
If no one will do it in our stead, feeling weary? Not me. I dare say I could lift an ox.
No, okay. I thought I might be able to interact with this thing. Alright, I guess it just wants me to go back to the shrine.
We've arrived well enough. Where to next?
Do you have anything to add about,
Remember,
No, okay.
draconic
I don't even have enough to buy another weapon.
blood
Alright.
flew. Then I bid ye farewell.
You gotta kill a bunch of dragons to be able to afford all of those. I guess I don't expect you to have all of them though, right? Uh, 4 wake stones should be enough. We don't need that anymore. We'll have those for what I assume is the final battle. Oh, right, I can't put those away. Yeah, these should all be... I can't imagine needing more than this. Oh, you don't need the camping kit, but... What is... Oh, this stuff is weighing you down, right.
We must rest, though the sun is still.
Let's heal up and then go in. I was just gonna cause another... No, okay.
Come.
This must be the last one then.
Getting on with. Shall we get underway?
I probably could have finished this yesterday, to be honest, if this is... I was just gonna summon something here, actually, because this is not a good place to fight. I feel like it's gonna take us to, like, the final area in one. Or maybe it will call something down. Oh, is it gonna be, like, a stronger... Oh, there's credits now? What do you mean? Is this just gonna be a stronger dragon fight? Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting her to transform into a dragon, but okay.
Master!
Oh, well, hopefully she lands fine. That's alright, she can self-revive, she'll be right. Are we just doing the... Well, we're not gonna God's Bane ourselves this time, right?
Uncountable created, only to be snuffed out like candles by the cold breath of oblivion. Eventually, the Great Will, tired of witnessing this,
So there's something above this center shoreline, right?
to overturn oblivion by granting unto it a role, a duty, an identity. I speak of the dragon.
Oh, or not.
By the Great Will does the dragon create a cycle, allowing it to forestall the end of this world time and time again. Yes, there is. This world has been safeguarded by the dragon all along. You yourself were chosen to form a part of this cycle. The Arisen is selected by the Great Will to play the role of the dragon's counterpart. That is how this world is built.
Oh shit.
Dragon serves to continue the cycle, and the Arisen exists to oppose it.
Yeah, but Grigori seemed like he wanted
This is
the
the
cycle
true
to end.
of the dragon's
Oh, they said it! That's the name of the game.
Once, everyone in this world had a role to play.
Oh I can't dodge this
For
one.
a well-crafted tale has no excess. There must be a reason for each character's inclusion. Yet,
Is that because I got hit? Or because...
even one of these characters stray from their assigned role, the tale entire will unravel.
Oh, that's pretty much the plot of Kingdoms of Amalur.
And if it does, their world will end. Such is the choice you have made, Arisen.
Can I climb this? Or am I kind of screwed? I don't
By
know.
rejecting your own duty in this world, you have robbed all others of the chance to fulfill the roles they have assigned.
Oh, I'm probably supposed to stand.
The pawns
Oh,
are no
okay, I was on here, but okay.
Born of the nothingness of oblivion, they were granted the role of aiding in the perpetuation of the cycle. Yet, bereft of the dragon, that role has been unwritten.
Oh, but you better not be able to flame me from there.
This awaits them.
Oh, they interrupted the dialogue, I guess. You gonna untransform at some point, or you're just gonna fuck up its eye? Okay. Am I supposed to be aiming this? No, I don't think so.
'Tis clear to me now, Arisen. I am no longer a mere vessel. Your great will has imbued me with a lesser will of my own. Will is power,
desires. Master!
I was kind of expecting a... I guess there's not going to be a final boss fight.
Oblivion fades. This tale's end has been unwritten. My heart, it aches. A new world comes. A new tale is set to unfold. Yet, it seems I will not be there to watch it.
I mean, that was a really cool sequence, because they really liked the riding on the dragon back from the first game, I guess, since they've done it twice in this game now. And I guess everything's fixed. I wonder if these guys would have had, like, this ending would be different if I didn't do their side stories. Because she wouldn't have gotten closure. Oh, they came back to Melv. Okay, so it didn't really matter that we took that sapling somewhere else. Oh, this guy died twice. See, like, what would have happened if I didn't revive him? Would he still be in the credits? Oh, he's dead. He couldn't even handle goblins. He's not going to handle the 3 Saurians. Oh, maybe it doesn't affect it, because he should be in the brothel, but I guess he's just... Yeah, I'd be curious to see what happens if you don't do these side stories, because some of these, you wouldn't know these characters if you didn't touch the side content, so whether it would just skip these cinematic cutscenes. I feel like I missed something here though, because like, I felt like the priestess would have a bigger role, but she just sort of had her assassination attempt and that was the end of it. Is there a reason it's you? Did the game pick you to have the highest affinity at the end? Oh, I guess so. Oh, so she was up top, so... Okay, and then she was the one taken by the dragon. Okay, that was sort of weird. And these would be the ones that I had for the longest time, I guess. Muscle Mummy. Way to ruin the mood there. With that name. 171 days, holy shit. Oh, they don't have the same stats from the first one, do they? That's a shame. The stats in the first game said like your deaths, your gold earned, vocation changes, all that sort of stuff. Ooh, okay. Well, if that is the end, and I definitely could have done that yesterday. Oh, I just realized I did the title wrong. If we just gotta change this real quick. Yeah, so I think if you look at it on its own, it's a really good game. I wasn't sure about it at first. I think playing as the Archer vocation that early on for the elf quest sort of soured me a little bit at the beginning. Just because I didn't like how that played. Like looking at it on its own, I think it's a really solid game. I think the issue is I'm comparing it to the first one, and I don't know if it's like personal nostalgia for the first one, or if there are some objective things that just don't hold up to the first game for some reason. So I think I've listed some of them. I wonder if I can bring up. We're gonna mess with the credits if I try and do that though. I think. Yeah, otherwise I'm not gonna remember. Give me like 2 seconds here. Because I'm gonna have this on the... If it would open up. Oh, there we go, okay. Because I remember writing stuff down. Because I definitely want to do the survey. So... I mean, yeah, there are like a number of good things. So like the Sphinx riddles are really fun. Being able to ride the griffins is pretty cool, because I rode one of them to the nest. Off stream. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a lot there. You can pretty much like ride it to the nest, get some loot, and that's sort of it. The Harpy smoke beacons are a really cool addition, although you'll end up not really using them if you're not going for Seeker's tokens specifically, or like exploring, because they don't really have a use outside of that, but they are a really neat feature. Mystic Spearhand is a really cool class. I like what they did with it. Obviously, I had a lot of fun doing the Seeker's tokens, although that only sort of worked because I had the mod that shows you where they all are, so they were much easier to hunt down. But I spent like 15 hours just hunting that, and that's like probably some of the most fun I've had, just like hunting down collectibles. The Minotaur and Medusa are both cool fights. I mean, they're not like anything. I think the Medusa is more so of a cooler fight than the Minotaurs, but they're good additions. And now same with the whatever that serpent is, and what was it, that like a unicorn dragon? I guess I'd think we could like brine dragons, maybe like brine dragon, brine serpent would be their name, possibly. The different smithing paths are interesting, because like you'd probably want to, obviously if you're a melee fighter you would go to Batal to smith your gear, and then for mages you go to the elves. It's not like anything deep, but it's cool to have the option there to be like strength, magic, or balance. There's only like 2 dwarves in the game, which is kind of odd. I don't know whether they intended to have like a dwarf colony or something, and they just didn't. And obviously the elf edition was cool, except it didn't seem to have any, like there was the one quest line with the Arbor Heart, and unless I missed something else, there was like nothing else there. It was like just like a really pretty area, but outside of that, they didn't seem to have much impact on anything. I don't know if I missed like a quest line there or something. Oh, does this mean the brine's gone now? It should, right? Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, so 74 hours, almost 5,000 enemies. So that sort of leads into the other thing I was gonna say. Oh, we almost hit level 69. Damn. So, 30 deaths. A lot of those deaths are from gravity, just from trying to reach the Seeker's tokens. Some of the wake stones are from there too, because I tried not to use wake stones, but you can sort of cheese out some of the Seeker's tokens by like dropping onto them and intentionally dying, and then reviving yourself with the wake stone, and you just sort of like you can circumvent a lot of climbing by doing that. 10 wake stone used on others. Eternal wake stone. What does that mean? But yeah, this sort of leads into the negatives though, and that there's more than the positives. So with the 5,000 enemies, the combat encounters are way too close together, and there's too many of them. I know other people have this concern. This is probably one of the biggest gameplay ones. It's just like it's way too much. You especially in the early game when you're not as strong. It's just like you can't go like 10 steps without like you can do combat, and then 10 steps later you trigger another set of combat, and you can very easily have like goblins, wolves, harpies, and like a minotaur all in the same fight. Just because like if you trigger like a big fight like a minotaur and you run backwards, you can trigger a whole bunch of other enemies. And I think that's a little silly because some of the enemies have infighting. Like I think the Saurians attack the goblins if they're too close together, which is cool. But then you, like I said, you can have like 4 different sets of enemies in the same fight, and I feel like they shouldn't be in there. Like if you're fighting like a drake, for example, goblins shouldn't be joining that fight because they should be scared of the drake. I think they're too close together, and and on top of that, they respawn too quickly, I think. And some of them seem to respawn before I even did like a rest of any sort. And I feel like in the first game, it took like a full day at least for enemies to respawn. And like bosses took maybe 3 days or a week or something to respawn. It was something like that. There was definitely a timer before they respawned. The major thing with the combat is that vocations essentially have 2 less skills in the first game. And this is sort of where the comparisons to the first game make this game slightly worse, rather than just like looking at it on its own. Because in the first game you have 6 skills, you have 3 per weapon. And in this game, because you only have 1 weapon, sure you have 4 skills on it, but it severely limits it. It's comparing 4 to 6. You have like way less options in fights, and it can make the fighting a lot more stale. And I think that compounds with the extra enemies because, you know, like as a magic archer, I had like the 3 elemental shots and then my big shot, and that's pretty much my only options in combat. I don't have a dodge roll. I don't have daggers. I can't like climb enemies and stab them. Like all I can do is sit back and fire my elemental shots, which sort of made the endgame a little bit stale with the combat. I think mods can fix that. I think I've seen a mod where you can use the Warfarer class, and I think you get a whole bunch of other skill slots. I might try that on New Game Plus just because it seems a little overpowered, because obviously the game isn't balanced around that, but I'll try it out and see how it goes. Mystic Knight being removed is a really weird one, and them giving like the augments to the Magic Archer is odd, because like I honestly wasn't a huge fan of Mystic Knight. Maybe I played it wrong, because I basically just like, it felt like every time you wanted to enter combat, the way I would do it is I would set up like the area trap and then the great cannon, and then I would buff my weapons It seemed like a lot of setup every time you wanted to fight. Possibly that was just like the skill set I chose. But I know a lot of people really liked Mystic Knight. So the fact that it was removed, um, and like replacing it was essentially Trickster, which I didn't even try out, but it didn't look that fun to play because it seemed like more of a support class than anything. But like, yeah, again, it's comparing the first game to the second game. On its own, the second game is fine because you still have the 9 vocations or 10 to choose from. But when you compare it to the first one, where you've just taken out an entire class, it makes this game seem worse than it probably should be. Sorcerer missing a bunch of spells is a huge letdown. But I guess it doesn't matter too much when you only have 4 skills anyway. Because but like, yeah, it's missing. I think I saw someone counted how many skills it's missing. It's missing a bunch. It's missing like the Silentium, Letium, Grapnel, Miasma. And then like all the boon spells, so all the buffs, which I think only the mage gets this time. There's some other ones that, yeah, I didn't really. I remember playing Sorcerer and really liking it in the first one, but I used the like Maelstrom, Bull-Eyed. Oh, Geisel is one that's missing. Fulmination is missing. What was the? I forget what the electric whip is called. I didn't really like it, but I know other people did. But the electric whip is missing. Yeah, there's just like a whole bunch of spells that are missing from the sorcerer, which makes it feel really weak. I feel like the magic archer is it's just like a better sorcerer in this game because you have all the elements and you can fire faster, and it just seems stronger. They and I knew this comment would bite them in the ass as soon as they said it. The developer, I think it was Itsuno, that said that having fast travel in the game can make your game boring. So that I did never liked that comment. And the fact that you can even just doze off in the ox cart immediately, it goes against that comment. But then you have the fact that fairy stones are super expensive and they're really stingy with them at the beginning of the game. And then at the end of the game, they're just dropping them like candy. Like every big enemy in the little dried out section just drops them. Sometimes you get multiple in one fight. So it completely goes against that sort of mantra. And like the Eternal Fairy Stone was considered one of the best additions to Dark Arisen. So the fact that they've like gone back, I wouldn't be surprised if they change how Fairy Stones work. If they like, I'm fully expecting there to be like a Dark Arisen style remake thing of this. I wouldn't be surprised if Fairy Stones are something that gets reworked, maybe being slightly cheaper or something. What else is there? Oh, so armor got completely simplified. I know they made a comment on this that they said they wanted to make it. I forget the wording they said, but it was sort of counterintuitive. But they removed. There used to be like under armor for like your body and the bottom, so that's 2 armor slots missing. There used to be arm armor slots, so that's missing. That all sort of just got combined into like your body, legs, and helmet. And then they added like the face mask slot. But that doesn't give any stats as far as I'm aware, it's purely cosmetic. The escort quests are completely worthless. They're only for like raising affinity, I guess. And they just give you a bunch of flowers and I think a small amount of rift crystals, which I never even use. I never spent a single rift crystal, I don't think. I think it's purely for the because there's like no Dark Arisen style loot box sort of thing. It's all for if you want to change your appearance or your pawn's appearance or their inclination or something. So there's like rift crystal serves next to no purpose. And then you compare that to Dragon's Dogma 1, where certain escort quests, you could get like unique weapons out of it. I know there's one quest where you get like 100 curatives for doing it, for doing the escort quest in one. And in this game, it's just not worth it. Especially because fairy stones are so expensive. You can't just teleport there. I don't think you can ox cart there. And it's just pretty much just a waste of time, considering how often they show up as well. I guess it's purely if you want to raise affinity, but like gathering flowers is so much faster and more efficient. The pawns with quest knowledge, I don't like how that system works in this. In the first game, they would if they had quest knowledge, they would. I mean, map markers were more common in the first one, but the pawns in the first one, if they had knowledge, they would give verbal cues as to what you should be doing. They would be like, oh, maybe this person knows about what you should do. Maybe we should go visit a church, for example. Because I think it was like the water god altar or something. Maybe where you had to go. Was it that? I forget. There was like some quest. Oh, I think it's Keena's flower. And they go like, oh, maybe someone at a church would like to have it appraised. And that's all they give you. And you know, it's not like it's hard to find a church, but it's on the player to then find the church, right? Whereas in this game, if a pawn has quest knowledge, they go, oh, I know exactly where that is. Let me just lead the way, and then you just follow them for 10 minutes. Assuming you don't get interrupted by fights every 5 seconds. They just lead you exactly to where you have to go, and you just have to follow them. There's no it's again, it's sort of counterintuitive where they wanted it to be, they removed some of the map markers. They wanted the player to like figure things out, but then they just added a way for the pawns to just show you exactly where you need to go anyway, rather than giving you verbal hints, and you can sort of figure it out that way. I much prefer how they did it in the first game, where the pawns would just sort of talk about it rather than tell you exactly what needs to be done. I think the only time that happened was the water god's altar, where if the pawn had been to the altar before, they would be like, oh, I know how to get there, let me show you how to get there, because there's like a very specific path you have to take. But yeah, again, like compared to the first game, it's just like, on its own, I guess it's fine. But like compared to how the first game did it, it's preferable to have it done that way. Mages and sorcerers especially have a huge advantage with traversal due to levitate. This is very evident when you're trying to do Seeker's tokens. Oh, and I think Trickster is able to like hunt down Seeker's tokens easier, but when you're trying to hunt down Seeker's tokens, being a mage or a sorcerer is just such a huge advantage. Levitate is so broken in traversal, and the only thing that's comparable is the Mystic Spear Hand with their dash attack. But and I mean, that was in the first game too. Levitate was pretty good. However, that was countered by the fact that all of the yellow classes, so the Magic Archer, Assassin, Strider, Ranger, so almost half of the other classes had access to double jump, which was almost as good. I think it actually gives a height advantage, maybe, double jump, whereas levitate was more a length advantage. But double jump was completely removed in this one, so because of that, mages and sorcerers are just like stupidly good at navigating, and every other class just feels way too underpowered in that regard. So I'm hoping maybe that gets addressed at some point. Like adding double jump would be a huge one, but I don't know. I don't know why that was taken out. The Seeker's tokens. Oh yeah, I sort of skipped over this before. So the rewards are really good. They're worth doing. I would say they're worth doing exactly once. I wouldn't hunt them down ever again, I don't think. It just takes way too long. Like, it's fun the first time. I can't see myself hunting down another 180, but for example, the armor you get is really good. That just carries you to endgame. It's essentially just endgame gear that you can get as early as you like, pretty much. And the Legion staff is super good in this one. It has a busted ability with self-revive, and it's super strong. It's probably just weaker than that Dragon's endgame stuff. So that's why it's worth it, obviously, if you have like a mage pawn or you're a mage. I don't know how that would work if you have Legion's pawn. Legion's might and you're a mage. I doubt it would self-revive you, but because you would just be invincible in that case. So it probably only works for pawns. But those two rewards are super worth it. However, the last one, for getting all 220 or however many there were, is completely worthless. Because by the time I had 180 of them, I had already maxed out like all but 3 of the classes. And the final reward is to get a ring. So not only does it take up your ring slot, but it like gives you an extra probably like an extra 50% discipline for leveling your vocation. Completely worthless. By the time you've gotten all those Seeker tokens, you're going to have whatever vocation you wanted maxed out. And you could very easily switch to another vocation during that time, and you could just max everything out anyway. Like, if I had actively switched classes, I would have probably maxed out all but one without even getting that ring. That is a shitty reward. It should be much earlier. It should probably be at like the 40 mark, maybe the 50 at most. And there needs to be a better reward at the end. I think that needs to be looked at, because that ring is definitely not worth getting all of the Seekers tokens. I don't know how they were considering that to be reasonable, but whatever. Again, that's just like a nitpicky thing. It's not a huge deal, but the Magic Archer and the Warfarer vocations seem to be super rushed. You get them at like pretty much the end point of the game, like it's at the very end of the map. And they're pretty much back to back. Like, you get the Magic Archer and you immediately interact with the Warfarer class. And upon obtaining them, you immediately get the Master skill. It feels like it wasn't really thought out compared to the other ones, like the Warrior and Sorcerer. You have to do a quest for early on to get the items, and then you have to hunt down the Master skill. The Trickster's about like halfway through the game, but then those two are just like at the very end of the map, and they're just like, oh, here, have the Master skill as well while you're at it. Doesn't feel like it was properly implemented. I feel like it could have been done better. Dungeons are interesting. There's obviously a lot more in this one than there were in the first one. And some of them are cool. I think I did one off stream where there was just like a bunch of collapsed floors. Like, if you looked, you could see the floor would fall out under you, and you'd have to climb back up. But if you look carefully, you could jump over them. The issue with them is that the loot is pretty much never worth it. There's never any. I guess it's only for the gold, because anything I ever found in the dungeons was always worse than anything you could just buy at the store, and the store wasn't really expensive anyway, because all your money is, money's not really an issue past the early game. You can just buy whatever, and the only thing you're really saving for is the house and the fairy stones. So I think maybe loot needs to be reworked to actually be worthwhile. I think the early game's been addressed, but slightly, but resting at an inn is stupidly expensive at the beginning. So like, gold is really, really tight at the beginning. And like, when you first get to Vernworth, it's like 2 grand or something to sleep, and you only have like 3 grand at that point. Which is, it's like really dumb, because it just means you're not going to rest at an inn in the early game. And then by the time you have enough money where 2 grand a night isn't expensive, you have a house, which makes resting in an inn completely worthless. There's like a very small period where you have enough money to rest at an inn, and you not have a house where resting in an inn is like the only thing you can really do. But they've now changed that so you can get a house earlier. So inns are way too expensive. They should be like a quarter of the price they are for it to be even. I think they need to be rebalanced. It's completely worthless the way they are. They're too expensive at the beginning, and by the time you're at not even mid game, like a quarter of the way through, you have the ability to rest for free. Or you could always just go outside and use a camping set, but inns are just way too expensive for what they are. Considering in the first game, I think the first inn was like 50 gold, and then the one at Grand Sorn was 200. And then by end game, you have like, in end game, you have like 500,000, so. And then I think just like the final point is that both Grigori, well, I guess I'll start with Grigori barely has a presence for like 50 of the 70 hours of gameplay, because he shows up in a flashback cutscene at the beginning, and then he's pretty much never mentioned again, because the main threat is taking the throne and these fake dragons and phases. Grigori is pretty much never mentioned at all until the very end, where he comes down, and then you obviously you fight him, and then that's pretty much it. That's the end of Grigori. Obviously he didn't have much of a presence in the first game either, but everyone was talking about the dragon. That was the whole driving part of the story, was we need to kill this dragon. Whereas in this one, it seemed more relevant about we need to take the throne, because as Arisen, your rightful place is on the throne. Which then leads me to the final point, which is, unless I missed something, which is possible, that Disa and like the false Arisen have like zero presence as well. They're always just sort of like in the background as like this overarching mastermind sort of threat thing. And you just like never interact with them at all until the very end of the game, where they're just like, oh, by the way, we're going to redeem Disa just out of nowhere. She's sorry for everything she did. She's sorry for selling pawns off as slaves, for working with this guy that's trying to control the dragon. Oh, she's just sorry for all that, and she's redeemed. Then I think that's really dumb. I think the story is somehow worse than the first one. Not that the story was ever the driving point, but yeah, that was a lot, wasn't it? I probably talked for like 30 minutes about that. Though I think the end game really helped. I think the post game in this is better. Well, there's no Everfall, unfortunately. There's no like sort of, it's not even procedural, but like random enemies that you can go into a room and get like really good loot. But I think the end game was pretty cool in this. I like how they implemented the brine into the story. I guess we never really went with the Pathfinder, did we? We never like went face to face. There was no like seneschal battle, unless I missed something again. But I feel like a lot of it isn't really explained unless you play the first one. You have like a lot more context as to what's going on. It's just sort of like you just have that dialogue. You don't really have the seneschal confrontation. Maybe if you do the other endings, you get a bit more, but yeah, I think that's it. Oh. Yeah, like overall, I think it's a really solid game on its own. I don't think it holds up to the first one, unfortunately, but there's some objective things that are there. I think half of it's objective things that are worse than the first one, and half of it's like some nostalgia from the first one that I just have. But yeah, I've pretty much listed my points. I'll see, I guess, if you know, I doubt my contribution to the survey will do much, but I wanted to put these things out there to see if anything changes on the on like the DLC front, if they ever come around to that. So I guess we'll see. Does this just take us back to... I assume it will just jump into New Game Plus, right? Oh, it still says Dragon's Dogma 2. Oh, but now it's gone back to the actual proper Let's restart game. It's current level 1 equipment new game. Okay. Well, I was gonna start the next game, but I talked for a bunch there. I'm glad I wrote all that down so I could get sort of my thoughts out on that. Yeah, but no, overall I did enjoy it. I think that the beginning was just rough. I just had a bit of trouble with the archer at the beginning, but outside of that, like the only other thing I had was, and this is completely just a personal thing, was I was a little disappointed there was no alchemist class, because the alchemist class was from the Dragon's Dogma online, and that looked really cool, and I love like fist-based weapons, so I would have really liked to play as that, but I don't know. It's possible maybe like mods can make it so you can have like 2 weapons instead of just the one. Like maybe they can mod it so you can have a magic archer with daggers. I think I'll look into mods for New Game Plus, because obviously there's like, I think I got like half the achievements, and eventually I want to go 100% this. I think what I'll do is I'll leave it for now. I'll let it sort of sit. And I think what I'll do is because I feel like they're really gonna push for DLC. I don't think they're gonna leave it at this. So I think I'll wait till DLC gets announced, and then I'll go to New Game Plus. I'll probably do that off stream. I'll, like, as soon as DLC gets announced, I'll start my New Game Plus run. I'll might mess around with mods a bit, and I'll try and like wrap up all the achievements, and then I should be like ready for the DLC when it comes out. If it's anything like the first game, we can just sort of start it at any point. But yeah, that's it for Dragon's Dogma 2. I think that's the longest playthrough I've done, right? Like 74 hours. That comes out like just shy of oh wait, no. How long was Mass Effect? I think Mass Effect, it took me like 100 and something hours, but that was... I think that was including the legendary run that I did off stream. So yeah, I think that's the longest one I've done so far. Yeah, so like I said, I was going to start the next game, but I'm sort of not feeling it right now. I think I'd rather let this sit as it is. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow to... I think it'll probably be Resident Evil 5, I think. Finally start that up. So I got a pretty big Resident Evil backlog at the moment. But yeah, overall, I've said this before, overall I enjoyed it. I'll see. It would be amazing if they do like a Dark Arisen sort of like a Redux, like rebalancing things, making some changes, and then having like a really good DLC on top of that. This game could definitely make a comeback if they do it right. And I think that it's going to really depend on how they handle it. I think they have like... Obviously, I think the reviews are still mixed at the moment. So how they handle what they do next is going to be really crucial to I think this game's future. They really need to be careful with what they do next, considering how they handled this game's launch. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up. So that's it for Dragon's Dogma 2. So thanks for watching. Have a good night, and I'll see you guys around.